the importance of uh, uh, driving your business from your data, because with the data, you know that there are things I'm doing right. You know that there are things I need to change, or I have to walk away for it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Tech Business Roundtable podcast show. This is a podcast show dedicated to shining a spotlight on tech innovators, entrepreneurs, founders, and the compelling narratives behind the movements they've established. I'm your host, Ryan Davies, and I'm hosting today's discussion on the importance of financial, data-driven decision-making for business owners with JP Rukebesha. JP, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Davis. Thanks for having me.
I can't wait to dive into this. This is going to be such a great topic, and I think we talked before we started recording just how big this can get. So we might have sub shows coming off of this one, but a little bit about JP. 20 years experience in accounting and financial management, working with individuals and small businesses, and along the way, he realized fundamental tools to running small and big businesses are fairly the same, except big businesses just have far more resources. Something that's a common thread that we find. The bigger you get, the more that you can possibly lean on. And his goal is to bring those tools that that finance departments have over a one-man show to small businesses by leveraging technology. So he has worked very hard to make that happen, and has worked across different industries as a CFO, and has boardroom experience, in manufacturing, hotels, and insurance companies. JP, color us up a little bit more on that, a little bit more about the bio and background and your company.
Right. So, like you said in the introduction, I have got over 20 years of working with in the business. I'm an accountant by background, and I'm pretty new in Canada. I've been in Canada for 12 years. But when I came over, I started working with small businesses. And I'm originally from Rwanda, so a developing country. And when I came over, I started working with small businesses. I immediately realized that the way I used to know small businesses is not the same as it is here in the West, especially in Canada, and in the US, I believe it's the same. Here, small businesses have got a more structure. They are structured. They have got a reporting system, which is legal, is required by the law. And where I come from, either you're big or you are informal. So you don't get to get reporting. You don't get to report anything. And you just go by, and the government will show up one day and say, hey, this is what we have to pay, which is different here.
You're right.
So by working with small businesses, as I could see, there is a lot of potential. For example, I give you an example with here in Canada. Small businesses which are 1 to 5 employees, they make up almost 80% of the whole incorporated companies. Wow. Like in Alberta, we have over 150,000 incorporated companies. Small ones are almost like 130 or around that. So as you can see, they make up a big backbone for the economy, especially that they contribute up to close to 50% of the GDP in the Western world, and they employ more than 70% of the workforce. So now, where did I come from? So as you know, most of the small businesses, everything they do is not recorded like in big businesses, because they don't have the resources and they don't have the training to do that. Right. Take an example with like a guy, Jose, who is a plumber. All he does, he has got his truck. Every morning he wakes up, he drives by, he goes by the coffee shop, picks up his coffee, goes to the Home Depot to pick up some supplies. Then he goes and does his job, comes back home. And all he does with the bills he gets, he just stuffs them in a box in order to take them to the bookkeeper or the accountant. Sometimes 4-6 months after his financial year end. In other words, throughout the year, the only data point he has is his bank account or the credit card balance he has. When money comes in the bank account, all looks good, very excited. But the next day, the money is gone. You can't ask him, did you make good margin on that particular job you did? He may say he made money, money meaning money came in the bank account. But when it comes to assessing the profitability, is not there. He can't tell you, I did this job because I was targeting maybe 30% gross margin on it. And we know that from your margin is where you get the money to pay for your expenses. So because he's focused on only the bank account, he misses the opportunity of growing his businesses and assessing even if he's doing things right. That's one area of pricing and margin. The second issue is about when it comes like to borrowing, working capital borrowing. He has no idea. So because he will feel like he may need money to grow his business, but he can't tell why and when he needs it. The only time he gets a loan is when he walks into bank and what he calls his advisor, bank advisor. He will say, yeah, you know what, you qualify for an extra 5,000 on your credit card. So he's gonna jump on and says, yeah, okay, just do it, right? So without really assessing, do I really need to borrow, or would I even qualify, or is it just because we are looking at my personal asset?
Right.
The other one is about savings, right? So we know the financial system hasn't changed for ages. The way we still talk about saving is the same, I believe it was talked about in the 70s. I was a small kid, I don't know, but I know that it's like you work, you take like 30%, you put it aside, and you build your nest, you build your wealth. And we know that with the cost of life increasing the way it has been going up, savings is practically impossible. You find people with 3, 4 jobs, they still tell you they don't have the money, they don't even know where their money is going. So going back to my motive, when I was at the accounting firm, I asked my boss, because I could see on the face of some of these clients, a guy will walk in, he has a turnover of 500,000, but he can't even show you he has got 10,000 in his bank account. He has saved 10,000. Then I used to ask them, I would say, what is going on? Because I could see from their numbers that there are things which you are not doing right. They just do the job because they have to do it. They don't assess the profitability, etc., etc. And I asked my boss, I said, can I start something, internal consulting with small businesses and see how they do? So he said, yeah, you can go ahead. So I picked some and we started working, and I realized that we were meeting every quarter. I had designed a template how I would discuss with them about their performances, about their operations, or if the business is funded right, and even a little bit on their exit. So gradually, I could see that they are getting out of their shell, even though they didn't have knowledge about finance and accounting. They started to grasp the basic knowledge about like income statement, profit and loss. They started understanding what is the balance sheet, what does it mean, what is the relationship between my net profit and my cash. So gradually, I saw that they were getting those knowledge, and they started doing better in their business. And even when I was talking to them, they didn't feel like they were intimidated by those words, the technical words. We could converse, and they will ask really good questions. So I said, this is probably an opportunity to do it. So when I saw that, at that time I wasn't really particularly interested in technologies, and the idea kind of like died off a little bit. That was in 2014. In 2018, I started being interested in technologies, especially the digital technologies. How using digital technologies, you can pretty much anything you can digitalize, you can give it to anybody, as long as you package it, you structure it in a way that is easily understood by that particular target. And that really resonated with me, because I know, I don't know if you're aware of it. When I came to Canada in 2011, a lot of my friends here didn't have a mobile phone. And so, which was a shock to me because where I come from, everybody was getting a mobile phone. You know why? Because where I come from, people never had an analog phone. So when the mobile phone came, it was this technology everybody can have wherever you are in the field, farming, wherever you are, you could use it. So those people will never know that an analog phone existed, right? The same thing with what is happening in the developing world with the mobile money. Like in Africa, a lot of people don't have never had a bank account, and they will never have one because there is mobile money. You send him money, he keeps it in his phone, he can pay, he can send to his friends, he can do anything you do with a bank account just by a mobile phone. He just make sure he hangs on it, nobody snatch it. so so when I understood that at that time people were starting talking about the artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
So I started having the ideas, realizing, saying, hey, you know what? I could combine that with the mobile technology and the artificial intelligence and uh, be able to help these small businesses. Now, that's where I come to the data-driven decision making, right? So we know that any big, medium-sized, big businesses, what they do, they have got people comparing data every day
Right. Yeah.
about their income,
Rooms
their
of people.
expenses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people. And a lot of people have got different knowledge in different areas, right? So now what happens at the end of the month, they close the month, they generate the reports. Then by the mid month of the following month, you have the management sitting down and going through the numbers and saying, hey, these expenses, yeah, I think what we are doing here is not right. Why are we not making the same money as we made last month? Why these expenses, these travel expenses going through the roof, etc., etc. Right? So then they make decisions based on the data. They say we need to do this differently, we need to change this, etc., etc. Now imagine for a small business owner who doesn't have the knowledge, his financial literacy is very limited, and he doesn't have a system where he can record that. Even if he could record that, it's almost impossible for him to make any interpretation. So that's where I come and I say, we get that. We become like big businesses. You bring it to the small business owners because they don't deal with so complex transactions. Then you help them instead of always looking at the bank account only how much money they have in the bank. They're going to start making decisions based on the data they have. If he has to borrow, he will look at it and say, hey, maybe I don't need to. If he's not making the money, he will analyze a little bit and say, am I charging my clients enough? Or are my margins right? Am I saving what I'm supposed to save? So the technology will help him to get away from just making an informed decisions based on just the feel, how he feels or how he feels like how he sees. I'm sure you have had that feeling one day when you saw your money in the bank, the next day is gone. You wonder what happened to it. You kind of have a fear that where it went, but you can't really you can't have it documented. Like say, hey, this is what happened. There are
Right.
very few people I know who keeps like spreadsheet and say, I can know where my money is going. Now I'm changing my habits. I usually see it with engineers, by the way. They are really good with spreadsheet. Yeah. So
My my wife's an engineer, so we've got. I was about to say I'm the exception. We've got everything on a spreadsheet, but there you go. That's the exact.
exactly.
What a perfect way to tie it.
So you see the importance of uh, uh, driving your business from your data, because with the data you know that there are things I'm doing right, you know that there are things I need to change or I have to walk away for it. I give you an example. If you get someone asks you to do a basement renovation, and you know that is bargaining too hard on the price, but you know that you can only do it if you hit your margins.
Right.
By the way, the common mistake with those guys, when they are giving quotations, they forget to price themselves, right? It's
Right.
very
Yeah.
common. They forget to price themselves. So now, if it's not hitting your margins, you would have a reason to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it, right?
Right.
Because it's not meeting your target. It's not meeting your what you're projecting based on the data, on the information. So you can make the right decision instead of just doing things because you have to do it or because you feel like.
So with that in mind, I mean, collecting and organizing this data is obviously paramount so you can make the right decisions. What are some of the challenges you see in that? Like, is this, a commonality that people, don't collect the full picture, don't organize it the right way? How do you set them up for success with something like that?
All right. So there are two things, two limitations I have seen. One, it's because the systems we have, like QuickBooks and the others, they were not built with the regular person in mind. They were built mainly for reporting, and they were supposed to be used by accountants, bookkeepers, people who knows what they're doing,
Right.
right? That's one problem. The second one is the way the financial system is built in North America, where we get scale to look at things, and we, even if they are small, very basic, we are left to leave it to the specialist, what
Right.
I call it, right? Even if you are dealing with 2-3 transactions, right? So I usually call it like the DIY in the financial system, like we do
Yep.
it in our houses, fixing few things. I'm sure there is a time people couldn't fix anything in their house. They had to call technicians until they realize they can do it. They can buy a few tools at Home Depot and they
Yep.
come and fix it, right? You leave the difficult ones like which are insurance bound, like plumbing, electricity, which can cause fire or some hazard. You leave it to the technicians. But really, changing your door lock or changing the whatever the knob or a faucet, you could do it yourself, right? So people got that. Now, uh, the financial system, when you look at it, we don't get to learn the basics at school, right?
Yeah.
They don't get to tell us. We only get to know it when you are grown up in workplace, picking bits and pieces from here and there,
Usually when
or
it's
you
too
learn
late.
by, yeah, after making mistakes, right? After making mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only way. So I ask myself, why can't we get everybody to get the basics about financial literacy? Not just tell me about saving, because remember, savings comes from you make money, you pay expenses, when you save.
Right.
But if you don't have a system to track that, it's very difficult to stick to it. It's like going to school. If you go to school, they make you read the books, you do the exercises, then you become good at it. So how are you supposed to become good with financial system the way it works if you don't practice, if you only leave it to those specialist people,
Yeah.
right? Yet you don't deal with complex things. You have got like 5 or 6 different expenses you deal with every day. Actually, that's too much. Then the rest are just bills which comes once a month, like telephone, internet subscription, etc., etc. So you could really learn those basic things. It's just a matter of designing a system. So coming back to the uh, system to record that, because they were not built for the regular people. When you open a QuickBooks, you find all of these technical fancy words, which are, as an accountant, it's very easy for me to figure out what it is, but I can see it for a normal person to say, what is this? Yeah, I would just wait for the bookkeeper. So what I did, I went and redesigned an accounting system for regular people by using the simple words like spending, income. That's it. And using very simple screen, which everybody can use. So the difficult I'm seeing is just figuring out how do you get people to get used to do that. I have a funny story. One of my clients is a senior lady. She's almost 75, and so she was using these books, those old books, the ledger books for we used to use before the software came. She
Yep.
was still using it. So I got her to learn to use the software, and she was saying, yeah, I don't think I can do it. So then she managed to do it. So I said, you know what? Since you can use it, anybody can use it. Right? So so she laughs all the time. So then I said, okay, I got to figure out how to build a system which not doesn't look intimidating to anybody. Then the AI part is just like conversation, in the regular conversation, like someone talking to each other, and it is very personalized. So it is going to suggest things like on borrowing, on savings, on pricing your product based on your situation, based on your data. Because if you don't get to participate into keeping your records, you are not going to have the benefits of making decisions based on your financial data, right?
Right.
There is no way you stay in the behind. So I'm more targeting like especially the millennial, the people who are upcoming at schools, because our system, by the way, is built to be used for personal and business at the same time, and it's free. It's free to use the accounting side, because I realized if I had to pay for it, it's self-defeating for my financial literacy goal. Because it really feels bad for me. It's quite a little bit personal, by the way, because we really need to get people to get those basic knowledge, and that's the only way we can fix the financial system. So
No.
you like we fight for everybody to know how to read, right?
Right. Yeah.
You should be able to read those financial reports, simple ones. If it's complex, that's fine. You will stay with the specialist. So technology allows us to do that.
And I think that's a perfect, right? Exactly you said. When you get bigger and you need specialists, use
Yeah.
specialists. But right now, for small business, as you're growing, as you get through startup, through small medium enterprise, or even personal, as you just mentioned, right? There's a huge impact on goal setting, and you don't know where you're going if you don't have the financial, data driven ability to decide what that realistic goal is. You don't have operational efficiency if you don't understand where your spending is going and what you're making and what your margins are. And this gives you that connection to your clients and your customers too, to understand, like, am I giving them the right service? Am I charging them the right amount? Am I spending the right time with them and all of that? So I want everybody to go there and go to your site, give them the information, where to go, how to sign up, how to take advantage of this, what you put in place.
Yeah, it's just we have got the application is available on both Android and iOS. You just go on our website, www.rugby.com, and you find a link to download the application. You go through, you register. Then you set up your company. You can set up as an individual. By the way, you can even choose, depending on which country you are, you can choose which currency you want to work on. We are also working on the language, trying to get some major languages so you can use it in different language. That's what it is. The AI part is still building, is not complete, but at least whoever is listening who wants to try it out, he can try it out for keeping the records. In about 1 month, we should have a artificial intelligence side of the application working too, and it's mainly mobile, and we purposely made it mobile because we live with the phone, right? For example, you could be sitting on the couch, you pull out the receipts which you received during the day, you just scan them and post them. And I like it. We don't link with the banking system, because we want people to practice, right? Do
like
it manually, because as you do it, you get more to understand
that's how you
what you're
learn,
doing.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to
Mhm.
interact with your finances a little bit, right? Not
Yeah.
just interact when it goes out or where it would, but like actually, see and touch and feel it. So that is rukbe.com for our listeners. And it's on the Google Play Store, the App Store as well, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. So there you go. Free platform. This is a bookkeeper in your pocket. This is what, the type of tools that we love to bring our TBR listeners in terms of being able to unlock their financial data. Again, the AI is powering up, give you some insights, your calculators on there. Everything is there for you to make it make sense. Take advantage of it. And then JP as well, on a personal side, how can people get in contact with you to again, maybe they need some more of this financial insight and learn more about you and what you do and be able to use your services. JP, how do people get in contact with you?
Yeah. They can send me an email, personal email. Jean is Jean, Jean @rugby.com, or you can even contact me on LinkedIn. Have a profile. There are not many Rukebeshas on LinkedIn.
It's easier to find than Orion Davies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say you
it's
probably
very easy to
it's
find.
an easier find there,
I have an easy differentiator.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So I wish we had more time to dive into borrowing, into savings, because there are other things we really need to teach our people, right? Because we want the user to be the driving force behind whatever happens in their financial life. We don't want them to when you show up to your financial planner or your bank advisor, we need to equip them and to make them capable of interacting with them, ask the right questions, not feel intimidated, right? Because at least they understand their numbers, they understand what they're doing. So when they show up, they are asking questions, the right questions, and they are not being pushed into making decisions which they didn't think about, right? Hmm?
Right.
Especially the borrowing, because we know what debt is doing to us in North America. Hmm? It
Absolutely.
is horrendous. And most of the things you see that we spend that money on consuming stuff. Hmm? We didn't borrow to create assets. Hmm? So that's why we are really struggling. If you add the inflation, then it becomes even a nightmare. Hmm?
I smell another podcast episode, JP, for us right there. And the
Yeah,
especially from a business owner perspective, like you said, people are borrowing not to acquire assets and to scale, but to cover costs, and that is just a recipe for failure,
yeah.
right? So I think we got a lot of great. This was that 30,000-foot overview, if you will, on things, and I'm super excited to introduce you to the TBR audience, but I think we got more to uncover here. So I think we'll be seeing you again, hearing from you again. We've got some great topics on the go. But with that, I definitely want to take a minute to thank you, JP, for this amazing podcast. The importance of financial data-driven decision making for business owners. I think we took it even beyond that, like you said. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Looking
Excellent.
forward
And I want
talking
to thank our listeners as well. We can't do what we do without you. So until we meet again with another amazing TBR episode, I'm your host, Ryan Davies. Take care out there. Thanks. Bye bye.